get in your good graces. Did a lot of kissing up to a bunch of butts and strange faces. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes it's a waste of time, spending every dime to find the right places. But I just wanna be a part of it, the whole machine of what gets you there and fills the air with energy and excitement and lots of enlightenment for the most part. Anyway, what can I say? I just wanna be a part of it.
Well, the first part wasn't great. I got to add more instruments to it. I didn't like the vocal at the beginning. Anyway, I'm testing out a brand new computer because, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Yeah. This one got busted up. Actually, it didn't get busted up. This was the one I've been using for the last 5 years. Well, 4.5. I got it right after my son had passed. Somebody sent it to me through a friend of mine, and it gave me I had a hotspot for 5 years that I was doing this with, and I got it for free, and it worked everywhere in the United States, Nashville, Florida, anywhere in the deepest, darkest jungle, and it ran like a champ up until about a month ago. And what happened was it just stopped working, and I was hoping, I crossed my fingers, I did everything I could, nothing came back to life. So what happened was I ended up having to buy one. Well, rent it, whatever. And it was, a small fortune. So I was spoiled for quite a while. And this computer also came with that hotspot. And I spilled a little bit of water on it, just a little tiny bit. Right here somewhere. I don't know. The lid was closed. I can't see it. I got the green screen. And, well, actually I don't have a green screen. That's why it's smearing. But if I showed you, I'm actually in a nice room. I'm at my parents' house in Cass Lake, which is Waterford, just north of Detroit, about a good 23, 24 miles. It's kind of how I was in Nashville. I was in Springfield. I'm going to tell you, I didn't want to go there. I'm going to go all over the place for about the next 59 minutes because my show, I love certain shows. I can watch over and over and over, even if I've seen the episode 2 or 3 times. Chicago PD and Chicago Fire. Don't ask me why. There's a couple shows like that, and I can see it in the background. My mom has this 80-inch screen in her green room, and she's coming back next week. They've been gone since January, and I've have the whole place to myself. I'm on this beautiful bay in Cass Lake, one of the nicest lakes in Michigan. Anyway, I've been pretty lucky. And I have to thank everybody from Nashville, the whole area, the Freemans where I stayed, and the Pistons lost by 2. Hey, bro, look what I got on. This was Dante's shirt, by the way. I put it on by accident today, and but it kind of looks good on me. Look at that. I kind of look sexy, don't I? Not bad. Not bad for. How old am I? Holy shit! How old am I? You can see why I don't do this for a living. Could you imagine? I have friends that talk really great, like Michael Jay Towers, who I haven't talked to in a few years. But anyway, it's funny. Jay Towers introduced me to so many great people over the last few years. And before he left me, the person that he introduced me to on New Year's about 12 years ago became a great friend and introduced me to a lot of people who I incidentally am working with at a studio not too far from here, about 15 miles. And we've been putting it together. I'm going to start broadcasting there. It's at a very big sign place. In fact, the biggest one in the world. And the office is amazing. The space I have, I could put a concert on in. And, to Bob Chappa, Aaron Vandermark, Wayne Curto, thank you very much. You guys are, stellar. There's going to be a lot of really cool things happening. And I want to, talk about those because we haven't made any money trying to do most of these podcasts, but we've got a press credentials for a lot of these things. We've got a lot of AIs going on, working with us, giving us Q&A on how to get this stuff done. So, in response to possibly some people out there that have kind of came and went in my life, especially in the Motor City area, past and present, I get it because I've been up and down, for a long time because of my own personal circumstances, and of course, COVID happened. COVID didn't affect me. I've already made that effect. I've never gotten sick. I've never gotten anything. I mean, I may have, I don't know, maybe I had a cough for a minute. I don't even remember. I didn't lose my taste or smell, or I wasn't down for the count. Um, and, you know, but I was very respectful of everybody. I made that perfectly clear. I know a lot of people love to fight. I don't like, I'm a fighter technically, but it was always, I hate even saying that. It sounds stupid actually, because some people a lot of people misconstrue what I say. That means I learned how to fight because I had to, physically, verbally, mentally, whatever you want to call it, everything. And, so I want to use my powers for good. My sarcasm, my obnoxiousness. Sometimes I'm funny, sometimes I'm not. But I've got some really cool people out there. They don't really have a lot of money, don't have a lot of perks, don't have 10,000 people following them, but they've got some decent ideas, and we're trying to create opportunities to help them. And not only that, help other people out there, businesses, charities, things in Detroit, things in Nashville, things around the world. And hopefully, and I know Vinny, you only get 100 comments, and then you're done. You remind me of my buddy Russell Wicks in Nashville. He'll call me and ask me like 50 questions. I just talked to him, as a matter of fact. So how do I turn Vinny off? No, I get sick all the time. I know. Let's see, what did you say? I think it's more survival mode. But anyway, I'm testing out all this equipment that I've been buying. So that's what I do. I'm very frugal. I'm very tight with my money. I really am. As a matter of fact, I have a brother that owes me enough to put down on a really nice place. But in the meantime, I got to stay here with my parents. It's a whole different story. Rule number one: don't lend friends or family money. Doesn't matter who they are. I don't care. They'll never pay it back. It's just the way it works. Sorry, it's true. And if I owe somebody money out there, let me know. Make sure we got proof or evidence of that conversation, because I don't think I've borrowed money too much. I have from a couple of friends here and there. And I've always had the ability to reimburse them somehow. So I always do that. If you're that person and you go, "Oh, I promise I'll pay it back. I swear on the Holy Bible." Don't do that. That means you're not going to pay it, and you're throwing God under the bus. Okay. Or whatever. That's truth. It's a truth. And that means you have no honor, integrity, principles. And then you're kind of on the piece of dirt pile of friends or whoever. Right. Right. Okay. No, that's true. I'm just speaking my mind. I got nothing to lose. The Pistons. Okay, let's talk about that. We got a show we're putting together. We got some really cool logos, like this one over here. See that one that says Misfits? Me and Vinny Kite came up with that because I knew he was different, but he loves to post 1,000 times a day. He just does. He'll post about dust on the wall or in the window or something. He'll go outside in the rain naked and do snow angels. It's just his thing. So I thought, you know what? He's different. And, and then there's people out there that have done really unique things, inventions, ideas, architecture, music, what have you. Some are very unique looking. Some are very super attractive. Some are, really old. Some are really young. Doesn't matter. You're different. And it's not an insult. It's not a put down. It's just saying, wow, you've done something, and not everybody has the opportunity. Here's an example. There's a lot of people out there that play golf that wish they were like Tiger Woods or a golf champion that makes millions of dollars a year. Probably spent most of their life joining, golf lessons, country clubs, what have you, and probably spend more money playing the sport than actually making the sport, right? Same thing with piano or an instrument, violin, something. I know a lot of people in Nashville, they play harmonica, guitar, dress up every day, every single day, like they're going to concert, and they don't make any money. And I think at the end of the day, we either seek money or fame, right? That's a good thing to have. It's fun. But that's what we want to have help and at least happen, I should say, at least in a very small way. And I know I'm not famous. I know a lot of people don't follow me here, but if I had 1% of the people that followed me on here religiously and opened the door to a bigger audience with the help of other people, I think we could make something happen and help those people that feel dismayed or not included or discarded in some sense or form, regardless of how good they are or how much they've tried or how much they've excelled at that particular thing or things. And maybe we can bring attention to that. And also, we're also going to try to incorporate people that are local here in the Metro Detroit area that have been working on things for years, businesses, helping people, fixing people, providing services and goods for people. And we want to help just be another avenue. You know, we've got the time to do it. We've got the resources. So hopefully that in itself turns into something um, um, that a good handful of people like. I don't script myself, and I guess I should, especially coming up. But I've always tried to talk from the heart, good or bad, tired or not, angry or not, sad or not, throughout the years. And I've learned a lot of things. And there was a lot of things that people gravitated to by accident. I don't know how. Then there's things I said that people might have been turned off. And I look back and I thought, there was times I shouldn't have said that because I was caught into an emotional vortex, if you will, of up and down, trying not to think about what was going on in my personal life. But at the same time, the reason I kept going was because there was people going through the same things that were once in a good place, and then something had happened. And there's a lot of people that haven't gone through it or try to avoid that, and I understand that too. That's like a TV show. I never watched. I watched Cheers on NBC. I watched a few other shows. I never got into Seinfeld. Is that a good example? Seinfeld, and I like Jerry Seinfeld. I remember seeing him actually on the Tonight Show the very first time he appeared on Johnny Carson. I don't know if you remember him. He was before Jimmy Fallon and Conan and Jay Leno. He's the one who he didn't actually start it. There was a guy before him, Jack Parr, who walked off the stage, and then Johnny Carson took over, Ed McMahon and all those guys. And for many, many years, he did the show, and he actually helped comedians get their start. And Jerry Seinfeld was one of them. And I thought he was amazing. Years later, he had a TV show, and I rarely ever watched it. The reason I bring him up, key fact, is that I can't even tell you. I was going to say thousands, but that'd be exaggerating. I just remember all the time for years, everybody would always refer me like I knew what they were talking about to Jay. Did you see that Seinfeld episode? What's his name? Costanza and the soup Nazi and all these things. And I'm sitting there going, no. And they looked at me like I was an alien. So, did I ever watch The Apprentice? Yes, I did. In fact, and I don't put my stuff out there, but I really love The Apprentice. I love the regular version and I love the celebrity version. I really did. I was hooked on that show. I don't like reality shows, and I actually met and knew some reality stars and hung out with them spring break years ago. And but I never watched the shows they were on. I never watched Big Brother. I never watched. I watched Temptation Island a little bit. I wasn't really enraptured with that. I wasn't. What's another one? The Bachelor. I don't like that. I don't like the Housewives of anything. Survivor I watched a few times years ago. I don't watch it anymore. But we all have our flavors. We all have our vices, and we always have that collective group of people that cling to what you may watch and things like that. And then there's just some things you try to get away from. And there was times when I was a DJ for years. People loved things because, I'd make an introduction. Hey, welcome to the club Saturday night. And, hey, it's your birthday. And, hey, we got drink specials. Tip the bartenders. What do you guys want to hear? This one brand new from Prince, And people loved the way I said it. They would even compliment me for years on my voice. I worked with many, many radio DJs from the rock, top 40, hip-hop scene, all of them. I worked with a lot of celebrities, local celebrity athletes, Pistons, Lions, Tigers, you name it. Who's that? Oh, the Red Wings, of course. But I never got the brass ring. There's been days I've made tens of thousands and made tons of money for charity. But I'm just one of those guys that by the time I get there, I've either lent a lot of people money, or I did a lot of things, or I made a wrong turn, or I just suck. I just do. So I'm trying to be real careful. I'm trying to isolate myself from people. And because I know that we're going to be somewhat successful, I think, at some of these things. And having the experience of, making a lot of cool things happen, especially with money, You got to be careful out there. And I think that's the glue that we all have in common, because once we have certain things, a nice car, a nice boat, uh, what have you, then that gives us a lot of status. Status might as well be called static, because static does what? It clings. It attracts, that lint, anything, right? And the same thing goes with people. So you got to be positive. You got to know how people are going to react to you when you do certain things that are positive. Um, and you got to maintain that control. And I think I learned the hard way a lot of times, how things should be and how they should go. You're a naked and afraid guy. Wait, who put that there? Wait, I just saw that. I like corner of my eye. I'm not even looking at this. I'm trying to avoid Vinny's comments because he's like, it's like staccato with him. It's like he's going to keep going and going and going. Let's see. Oh, Jason, how you doing? How's Florida doing? How's the weather down there? We got up to 80 today. It was really sunny today. I was really amazed. I'm trying out this camera. I know it's blurry in the background, but let's see. What was the other one I was going to use? I was going to use my daughter. She was just here, Sabrina. I actually, just for the record, for anybody who follows my personal side, I've got about 50 plus people, 50, from all walks of life. Some people know me. Some people were my son's teachers. There's a handful of people that follow me no matter what I say or do. Doesn't matter. Then there's people, so I don't know what, and then there's people that will pop in, pop out. But and I always invite people since day one, even on my worst day. If you want to come in and talk about whatever you want to talk about, come and do so. But we are going to go into that realm, and we've got a whole bunch of different items that we're going to present, hopefully, and we're going to see what works and what doesn't work. And if after this year, 2025, none of that works with the people I'm working with, then I will just become I don't know, maybe I'll be a guard at a nice gated community in Florida and say, "Good evening, Mrs. or Miss Jones." I want to make sure you get into your house okay. I'll be that safety person. Um, but no, we're going to try as hard as we can. And the first couple of years I did this, I was just telling a friend of mine um, that, in fact, it was Vinny and somebody else. I said, the first couple of years I did this, people were offering me a lot of money, a lot of money. I mean, I had women calling me, probably at least 300 women, and I'm not making that up. Some were older, some were half my age or younger, and offering me, money. Some were sending me money. It was crazy. Venmo, Cash App. I didn't even have Venmo and Cash App until the night. PayPal. That was it. And it'd be $20, $50, whatever. And there was people that were like trying to send me stuff, especially them, for my daughters. Like Sophia. She liked crab legs. Somebody sent me a big crab legs. Her name was Joe. Thank you, Joe, because I know you will still watch me from afar. She shipped me, this is just one of many, many things, just to give you an example, a big box of Alaskan crab legs from Maine, frozen. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's like something you see in Scarface, right? And she loved them. And I felt really bad, how do I say this? I kept saying this over and over many times. I didn't want to profit off my son's death. And in hindsight, 2020, maybe I should have, put the money, because I would have had a foundation for him. That's how much money that was being offered to me. Maybe a scholarship at his high school where he didn't finish, but he graduated posthumously. Other people, because I don't suffer from cancer. I don't have any disease in my body. I don't have anything. I got, a tooth that's going bad right here. But other than that, I mean, I thought I was going to die of everything. In fact, when COVID came around, I was like, I was hoping people would breathe on me, and I think any parent that loses a kid would go through that. I got people that are very much younger than me, very successful. A friend of mine, I don't want to say his name and his wife's name because they're both on my Facebook, but he's a very successful person, and she's very well known as well. And, they lost their son about a year or so ago. And not just recently, their anniversary of him passing. And he was my son's age, and he was going to follow in his father's footsteps. And, I heard from somebody yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was at a really well-known restaurant with my daughter, and, it said he's not doing well. But on the surface, he's got to maintain his very large and successful business. Do you understand? So you have to become two people. You can't, as much as you want to lay down and die, seriously, you got to keep going and you got to make a difference. And for the people that left me, for whatever reasons, I replaced them with people that I've never had friendships like in Nashville. Those guys are twice the size of the guys I used to work out with the gym at here in Michigan that I did a lot with and for. And they're gone out of my life after my son died. They just didn't like my posts. They didn't like my videos. And I've lent these guys tens of thousands of dollars, taking them on trips around the country, even Hawaii. And, they ghosted me. But these guys like in Nashville, dear God, Michael, Alberto, Alex, Juan, Russell, Chad, dear Lord, Chad, and his wife, Mikkel. I can go on and on and on. I've got friends that you would think I've been friends with for 50 years. That's crazy. So if you're out there and you listen to me, hopefully, no matter how cool or attractive or much money you had or have, or because some people spike. Not everybody has that same level. I know there's people out there that are really good at maintaining, that level of, they can do anything every day and not have and be unaffected. And it's just amazing. They're like Teflon. I don't have Teflon in my life. I shit sticks to me. I don't know why it does, but if you have any kind of situation out there, I hope you learn one thing from me, and not even if you don't want to do a podcast or anything like this and make yourself look ridiculous like me, which I don't care. And that is keep trying. Keep trying. Hey, Adriana, how are you doing? And I've seen you were going through some kind of medical condition. Am I wrong? Because I've seen about 5 or 6 women that have been regulars that I've never met on here. Oh, let me get rid of this stupid hide current comment. Sorry about that. I haven't done this in so long, and I pay every year in advance, like December, Christmas time, for a year of this, and I've hardly used it. And like I said, this computer was down and out, and I just felt like I didn't want to do it anymore, especially for my personal stuff. But I got a lot of messages today because of my daughter. And just in fairness to anybody watching, because I know people got sick of it. And I know there's a lot of people that didn't have kids, male or female, 30, 40 and on up, and some just don't want kids. Some never found the right person. Some can't. And I understand it. So for the people that couldn't have kids, I understand it. And I told my daughter this yesterday. I said it right to her face. I said, my life would have been perfect had you not been born. And, and you're probably going, how the hell could he say that? And I said, but understand something. I didn't want the problems everybody had that was around me or I saw on TV, divorce, custody battles, lies against you. I thought, oh, that can't happen. But I thought I was safe, because I didn't have any things. I didn't cheat on my ex-wife. And, being a DJ in the clubs, even in your 40s or older, you're still going to meet a lot of women in the clubs. And I'm kind of goofy looking, but they still approach you or whatever. Now I'm not approachable anymore. I've had a good friend in my life for a long time. We talk a lot. I see her sometimes, and she's been a great friend to me. I don't divulge in all that. I'm never getting married, but I've been through a lot, and I don't wish worrying about. I'm not afraid of dying. I remember getting on a plane one time. I was 30, in my 30s, and I go, God, I'm not afraid of this plane going down. And then they had a mechanical thing, and I remember the stewardesses or the flight attendants, whatever they call them, and they were all scared. And I was sitting with them in the jump seat because I can't remember. Somebody was really big, and he was taking up, he was squeezing his people. So I said, I saw an extra jump seat, and I go, here, let this poor guy was getting squeezed. So I moved into the jump seat, and there was these 3 God, I'm sorry. I don't want to be incorrect. Flight attendants. And I remember they were getting nervous, and there was a lot of turbulence, and I could smell something like burning or something. And I didn't know what it was, but I didn't have any fear of it. Well, then fast forward when Sabrina was born and I was traveling to Little Rock, Arkansas by plane, and my son was just born about 4 months before that. And that was the only time I was scared of dying because I had 2 children at the time too. And I never thought for a guy who never wanted kids, I was addicted to them like pick a drug, pick anything you're addicted to. I was like over the moon. Every second of the day, I could come up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the blizzard from somewhere, and I would just stare at them like I just had 10 coffees. I would just look at them. It's like they fueled me with energy I never had before. I swear to God. And I look at Sabrina and I go, how is she so gorgeous? She's almost as pretty as me. Sorry. Well, look at her mom. No, I'm just kidding. No. Anyway, no, you got to see. But anyway, um, I'm sorry. But you know, I I know one thing's for sure is that regardless of how many people unfriended me or unfollowed me or what have you, I'm going, well, they're always typing stuff about politics or religion or something, which is fine. I don't get engaged, and I'll tell you why. It happened after Dante died mostly, but I knew I couldn't fix anything. I just had that mindset, and I don't need attention from everybody, like that. I know people think I need attention here. I don't. If I help one person, I gave a story yesterday about a kid. His name was David I didn't say his last name. It was David Walsworth. And he grew up in a neighborhood right behind my neighborhood and not even 5 miles from where I'm at right now. And this was back in the early 70s. It had to be 72, 73. I don't remember. It was, I was in grade school and I went to school about a mile from here. About a mile and a half. It's called Our Lady of Refuge. Right next to a college called St. Mary's, a Catholic college, very famous, very well known. They do a Polish fair every year for the last, I don't know how many years. And the kid, when we carpooled together, there was a couple other kids from one family and another kid. They crammed like 6, 7 of us in this one car. Well, he was, and everybody had siblings except him. It's me and my brother Roy, a couple other kids, because we had my mom had like this hatchback or something. I can't remember. I think it was a Pinto wagon or something. So it had a couple rows of seats. And the kid was sitting in the back and, they squeezed, you could squeeze 4 kids in a bench. And I remember I was sitting in front with somebody else. My mom got out of the car and they were always picking on this kid, teasing him, making fun of him, calling him names because he was just quiet. He never said a word, ever. And, he didn't do anything. But they started pushing him, the one kid. Next thing you know, they all took turns hitting the kid. Then next thing you know, the one kid hit him in the face. And he just was sitting there like this. And then he just went, it just fucks me up. I swear to God. And I don't care, because I know people think I'm like weak because I cry. And I'm like, if any of my friends are on there like Jason, I'll walk through 10 people. I don't care if they're on steroids and have a gun. I don't care. And if it's aimed right at my head with a hammer cocked, I'll you better kill me. You know what I mean? And, that makes me sound crazy or like I'm trying to be tough. No, but when I cry like a girl because I feel this weird thing. I think they call me an empath, if that makes sense. Okay. Maybe that's a weakness, I don't know, but I can feel it's like having even today, I saw somebody and I knew I tested my photographic memory and they were like blown away. Even, at the gym, I went to Planet Fitness and the guy, he shaved everything off. I've only seen him 2 other times. And I go, and I said, Craig, you shaved? He goes, I go, you're whole different. He goes, yeah, I did. And he goes, you're the first one to say something to me like that. And I've been like this for 3 days. I go, well, I haven't been here in 3 days. And I said, that's just how my brain works. But I feel that inside of me. That's how I was a firefighter. That's why when guys at the bar would pick on my friends, I got a friend who just can't shut up, right, Les? And, he'd have like a handful of guys. There'd be always people that wanted to fight in a bar. You got drinking, you got drugs, you got ego, you got testosterone. You know how that works, right? So that was a norm for me to see it. And then they made fun of me because, I had longer hair and I danced. Yeah, I was with the girls. Hey, girl, what's up? Other guys are doing, hey, man, drinking a beer. I ain't dancing, And then the boyfriend wanted to fight me because the girl's dancing with me. And she asked me to dance. I go, I didn't know you came here with her. What's wrong? Why don't you put a leash on her or tease her? I don't know, right? And yeah, so, I would always sit there and I'm thinking when I was a kid, nobody stuck up for me. Never, never. I had a crazy brother that I loved to fight, but we were at school together, he's the same height as me now, but he was short for a long time, like about a foot shorter. And, but that was the best I had. But any of my other friends, forget it. They'd be hiding in the girls' locker room or bathroom or something. Where'd he go? Like what? And he started the fight. I'm just coming over here. I'm like, who wants to dance? But anyway, that's how life works with me. Like I said, I cracked things. My brother used to go. He goes. This is my brother Roy. Right. Currently, he owes me a ton of money, and I say a ton. I could buy me a nice house with it, and but whatever. What am I going to say? They say you should not talk, whatever. But at this point of the game, I'm like, I don't even care. But it's funny because where was I going with this? You have to help people the best way you can if you can, and you can attract really good people. And luckily, I helped people, and now we want to do it in a really cool, fun way. We got dance party. We're going to deal with DJs and nightclubs from all over the world. We've already gotten a lot of people, some of the richest, biggest clubs, the chain smokers, David Guetta, Tiesto, keep going, Katy Perry. We're promoting them. That's just one faction. Nash Talk. I'm promoting anybody that's a songwriter from the ground level up, people I've known, for a few years that played in, bands, not just in Nashville, but around the world. Stars I've never met, Keith Urban, Blake Shelton, whoever. But we're also promoting rock bands, old and new, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Winger, Pick Something, Firehouse. In fact, I know the kid that was with me, almost 2 years ago, I met in May. He went on to sing. Now he's the lead singer he's from Michigan, north of Detroit, another half hour from here. And now he's the lead singer for Firehouse because the original lead singer, just died last year. And so, I still root for him. I root for people. And then we got, Dash Talk. We came up with that with the Detroit logo. That's going to be about anything good in Detroit. I could figure, well, what the hell? Why not? It could be about the sports. It could be about the architecture. It could be about the train station. It could be about the Gordie Howe Bridge or the Ambassador Bridge. Something positive. Everything's got to be positive, no matter what. We're not going to do anything negative. I'm not going to get emotional on those podcasts. And we're going to hopefully promote a lot of people with that. And so this is for that handful that will see this later, because they're taking these down on Facebook every 30 days now. Maybe they're running out of storage. I don't know. The weather's getting warmer. I'm getting more energy than I've ever had before in my life. I'll be honest with you. I thought I was dying for the last 3 years. I had no energy even last year. In fact, up until November, I didn't have any. I thought, man, I might have something. Like maybe it's just depression. Maybe it's something. I don't know what it is. I knew I didn't. Every time I come back to Michigan, I feel like I'm like this alien. And then the people that call me to keep me going, even tonight, I get a call. Guys from Nashville. And a lot of these guys don't even know each other or never even met each other. So that's what brought me back to life. And then I got a couple guys here, Oh my God, oh my God, no way. I haven't seen this guy in over 10 years. In fact, the night, oh my God, Marcus, I shouldn't even tell you this. Then I made pretty good money. He was the manager and the DJ of this club that we did for years in the late 90s, all the way till 2012. And it was the night before Cinco de Mayo, which is a holiday my family celebrates because, that's half my heritage. But it was May 4th, 2012. And we had a great time, great party. As always, they took care of us. This was in Indiana on, I think it was Walnut Ave, College Ave. It was downtown. They always put us in really nice hotels. They gave us a drink tab. They bought us dinner. They were giving us bottles of Grey Goose and Red Bull. I even brought one home because I was bringing it home to my wife. Little did I know that she, that was the last night we were together, and my life went to crap. Right? I mean, it was like Niagara Falls just shut off. I mean, everything went south. But I will never forget how these people, Marcus and Ken Nikos and all those other guys, Brad, the whole crew, everybody was just so out of for years. They treated us so amazing. And, I wish you could, yeah, College Walnut was, yeah, see, look at that. Oh, okay, was in Bloomington at the other venue. Okay. What street was the Vogue on? It was downtown Indianapolis. It was like a college town. And it was like an old theater, but we hold a ton of people. I still have pictures and videos I post from that. I got this kid that doesn't do anything, but he doesn't know anything about phone parties that's on here right now. You should tell him how many people we used to get. We used to get like 1,000 people to come to the phone parties, and it was crazy. It was insane every time we went there. And we did a club in Bloomington, Indiana, too. The same owner, and Cincinnati, Ohio is where we started. We did over 1,000 people every single time, and they always treated us like rock stars. Wherever we parked, wherever our hotel, everything was. It was like we were famous. It was amazing, and yeah, we still have all that equipment, but it was just crazy. I remember leaving Vogue. That was one of the clubs. I think Ken took us. Maybe it was you. I can't remember. We went to an Italian restaurant right down the street, and we walked to it. Do you know which one it is? A real nice one, and we ate there. And the food was so good, I bought another one to go home for later. Um, let's see, what did he say? It was amazing every time. Cincinnati was 2,800 in the club. Yeah, we did a car. Oh, what was really crazy? It was about a couple years before that. They had riots in Cincinnati after we had been there many times, and we did about 2,000 people. I didn't want to say, I knew it was over 2,000 people. And that was on our first phone parties. Ambrosia was the restaurant. Okay, let me start with the Ambrosia. So in Indianapolis, right across the street from the Vogue, we went there, and it was an Italian restaurant, and I knew I was going to make really good money. And I always took care of my guys. And all my guys, they were always afraid of the menus because, it would be like $100 a person. And I said, get whatever you guys want. And, they were so spoiled, but they worked hard for me. I got to tell every one of my guys worked, they loved working with me and for me. It was great. So I bought another dinner. It was probably like $25 back then. And I was walking out, and I even got the, forks and everything so I could eat it later in the hotel room, in the plastic ones, whatever. And I seen a homeless person on the street, and he goes, Jay, do you have any money? I'm really hungry. And I just remember giving him my dinner, and and I turned back around a few feet away. My guy tapped me, and he'll look at him, and he was sitting down on the curb of the street. There's a lot of people walking by. There's a lot of street traffic, and he's sitting there, and he opens up the styrofoam lid, and he's eating the food. And, we turned around, we were about a good 50 feet away. I didn't want to stare at the guy. And, and it melted my heart, and I go, man, I always loved taking money, not just taking care of my guys and everybody else, but it was always cool like that. And you guys gave us that opportunity, Marcus. I hope, yeah. Oh, Brad. Oh my God. Brad, I love it. I could kiss all you guys, man. If I give you a big hug right now, I would do it. I love you guys so much. I owe you. I mean, and I've been all over the United States. You guys know that because like I said, I worked in big clubs with you guys many times. And you guys actually, I forgot, what was the guy's name that first got us there? Right before Ken. Rocco? I don't know. We came down to a Club Electra in downtown Cincinnati. And, so let me go to Cincinnati. So I think it was like, what year was it? 2004 or 5. Now they had a whole downtown area by Club Electra, this big giant, EDM club. They had famous DJs there. I mean, it was like, techno, EDM, house music. It was, it was bigger than anything in Detroit. You would have loved it. Whoever's watching that loves big clubs. These guys, yeah, Matt, yeah. And what happened was one year I guess there was some riots down there, and the whole town shut down. They had Have a Nice Day, or Have a Nice Day Cafe, which was a big franchise. They even had one here in Detroit, and a few other. Was it Bar Louie? They had a whole bunch of bars, that were packed, and then the whole town shut down, like bad, like it was like bad. Well, then Ken, if Ken's around, because I know Ken's on my Facebook too, he could tell you the story better than me. So Ken goes, come here. And because we just got done setting up, because we got there early and we had, 3-4 hours to kill. And he goes, come here. He goes, we're going to go walking through the town. So we follow him. There's like, 3 other guys with me. And so we follow him, and he takes us to come buy you guys a drink at one of my favorite bars. So it was just a bar. And he says to the bartender, he said, "These are the guys." And I said, what? He goes, "You guys," he goes, "I want to tell him," he goes, "the reason the whole area got packed down there, it was packed. It was like people everywhere. It's because you guys came back." He goes, "You guys did this." And I don't, like I said, I'm not going to get emotional, but that, because back then I wasn't like I am now, old, but I was like, "What?" And we all looked at each other, and the guys are all, "My God, that's cool." I go, "You serious?" He goes, "Yeah, we're dead serious." He goes, "We're not just packed, but everybody came down because they feel safe coming back down to that downtown area." You know what I mean? So, maybe my life has been ridiculous the last, I don't know how many years, but it's always things like that that make me feel that with that concept that nobody believed in the way we did it. And nobody ever got hurt at one of my phone parties. Nobody, people always going, "Oh my God, kids they'll think it's ucky or this or that or blah, 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 blah." But, well, oh my God. That part of Cincinnati never recovered from that. I just drove through Cincinnati, and it was going to Nashville last week, and it was like floods everywhere. And they built up the city a lot. Let's see, they moved the entire bar district to the north side of Cincinnati. No, you know what? You guys are the best of the best. They didn't just bartend and they did everything. You guys did everything top notch. And I've worked in some of the biggest clubs in the biggest cities: Chicago, New York, Miami, LA, everywhere. And Vegas. I mean, it's just crazy. You guys held your standards up that equally matched anything I've ever seen. And so, I'm just using technology and the fact that I was able to work with radio DJs and nightclubs and all this other stuff. Because, DJs have to learn how to do digital stuff, maybe do their own promos, their own videos. And, you take your bad experiences and your good experiences, and you try to make something. You got to try to create something sometimes out of nothing, as they say. You can't make nothing out of nothing. You got to turn it around and make something happen. And you know what? The fact that certain people have told me they've been inspired to join a gym or quit smoking or love their kids more, or take more pictures or eat healthier or enjoy life more. I see people all the time around me not being doom and gloom, not being negative, that, something can happen, you know. When you're a kid, the worst thing that can happen is you get pimples or get a cavity, right? But then as time goes on, you realize there's more to life, and you got to maintain the quality of life and bring a lot of joy to people's lives, even with the most ridiculous stuff. And, there's been people that didn't believe in me and then believed in me after when I was making the money. And, that was that, right? I think we all have that, some of us, right? So you can relate to that. And for those of you who can't and stay in the safe lane, man, I'm jealous of that. I wish I could just retire and stop and do that. But even if I had $1 billion put away, I don't think, even with all the sadness in my heart, not going to see my kid anymore, not going to see my daughters, you know, I don't have that, that big clique of friends here in Detroit anymore. I got to reach out. "Hey, are you alive? Hello?" Like, um, I would probably do stuff like this. I would still make my music. I'm making country, rock, hip hop, dance music with my Ableton. You guys use Ableton, by the way? Marcus, I know you probably do, because I know you were a mega talented DJ. I mean, I remember when we were doing that phone party, usually I listen to the DJs and go, "God, they suck." And then there's some that just really rock my world. And you guys, especially you were like, you were bad to the bone if you're still there. Um, yeah, I mean, because that's really, you know, what created the energy behind, we can't do a phone party without music. And, having great music and a great DJ, plus you would know how to talk. Like a lot of DJs don't know how to talk, and that really just fires the people up. So, even if you're sitting at home, male or female, once had it going on, or your life was good, it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. I spent the last 5.5 years since my boy passed, and 2 years ago, more bad stuff. But I just kept going. And there's times I want to quit, right, Vinny? I tell him, I go, if we don't have this going by June, I'm done. But I always keep pushing the deadline because something happens. Something happens. And I must have received, just in the past 2 weeks, going to Nashville, I got a lot of people going, "Oh, you're going back. That's great." And there's about 7, 8 people a day, I'm not kidding, that I haven't seen or heard from. I didn't even know they were still on my Facebook. Some of them I know for 20, 30 plus years. And I go, "God, you still alive? You still remember me?" Stuff like that. It was like crazy, right? And younger people aren't going to get that. 35 and under. It's when they hit like 48 and over, they're going to go, "God, you know, I got to do all these things to maintain my life and lifestyle." And life is scary out there. I don't care who you are. It's, unless you're super mega rich, it's hard. And, even if you got a lot of money, you got to maintain that health. I'm not preaching. I'm not preaching, but when you guys start taking a lot of vitamins or a lot of medicines or a lot of treatments, then the quality of life, it gets, it's like climbing up a hill with street shoes on. It becomes harder. And I lost a lot of energy. I put on a little bit of weight when I started drinking and eating like crap. And I had these, very depressing thoughts. My ex-wife was, telling me, "Oh, he's got suicidal thoughts." I'm going, "I lost my son." Just, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But that pushed me. That pushed me. That was not even a year ago, in court, accusing me of all these negative things that most people would have a harder time than maybe me. You know what I mean? So, "Hey, brother, get to bed. Get to bed. Call me later." And he used to do some of my phone parties, Jason. And now he's down in Florida the last 10 years. And since then, he got married, had daughters. She's about my daughter's age, Sophia's age, 14, maybe 15. Um, Life is weird, man. When I first met all these guys, they didn't even have a credit card. They didn't even have a car. They didn't have, a lot of these guys didn't have anything. Now they went on to have their own businesses, their own kids. You know, I hope that I was able to show them the world and show them how to get into a nice hotel, how to leave tips, how to be appreciative, how to rent their own cars, how to do a lot of things that life doesn't teach you. And with or without money, without a college education, that's your job. The little things that you do to spark other people and inspire them. You're not going to hear about it from most people. And you're not supposed to. But every once in a while, some people get into that deep, dark abyss for the dumbest reasons. But to them, it's a big reason. It's something, it's like a giant hole they can't get out of. It's like when you hear somebody, ended their life and you go, "God, I didn't see that coming." People are waiting for me to do it. And yeah, it was hard. It's still hard. But I was like, "You know what? F this." I saw my daughter the other day. I didn't think I was going to see her again at all. I thought she was taken into the dark side by, I can't even say the person. And you know what? She goes, "No, Dad, I'm always going to be there for you. I'm always going to be with you." So I got her and she's perfect. I mean, I'm lucky, she's always been healthy. She's always been whatever, but that doesn't mean I don't worry about her. That's the scariest part of my life. That's the scariest part of my life. Look at John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter, beautiful lady, got, cancer. Look at Jay Leno. I just posted something on Misfits. He's still with his wife. He goes, yeah, he says it right in the thing. He goes, "Yeah, I could have dumped her for some girl at the store for half her age." He goes, "Why would I do that?" He's got to take care of his wife who's got dementia, and he's got to be her caregiver. And this guy's a multimillionaire. He's got like 100 plus cars, all the money in the world. And yet he's got to take care of his wife. That's got to be hard. That's got to be hard. Does anybody care? Fuck no. Let me say it again. Fuck no. Nobody cares until it happens to you. It's not doom and gloom. It's reality. So, how do you prepare people for that? How do you prepare yourself for that? You don't. You just got to deal with it. You got to reach inside. I remember when my favorite uncle was dying, his 5 kids, the youngest being a year younger than me, my cousin Eric, they all took turns taking care of their father. He could have died 4 years earlier in hospice, but they kept him alive and they took care of him, bathing him, taking him to the bathroom day and night, all the time. You know how much that would have cost? You know how hard that must have been? You find it inside yourself. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you don't like me all the way. You're not supposed to. I want you to like me this much, not this much, just a little bit, 10%, 10%. And take the good parts. We always look for the bad parts, don't we? We didn't look for people's politics. We didn't look for people's religions. We didn't look for people the way, like, your best friends could be 450 plus pounds and have more pimples than a berry factory. You know what I mean? But you love them. But then when it comes to the person that you want to date or mate with or anything, it becomes what is he or she going to look like? Or how much money are they going to provide me with or things? It's like, wait a minute. They're the ones that you can make babies with or, or not, or spend the rest of your life with and live with. That's a weird thing, isn't it? That's a weird thing, but yet you accept your friends for all their faults and flaws and physicalities. Does that make sense? That's why I like everybody. Does it backfire me a lot by trusting people, liking people too much all the time? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 6 months ago. I mean, but that's okay. That's okay. Does it piss me off? I can't even tell you. I mean, if anything was going to make me insane, that or whatever, mental ailments or proclivities I might have for, it's like I don't take any drugs. I don't, to cure me, to make me happier, to make me less sad, to make me function. No. What do I take? Here, I'll show you. Here you go. Look at this. Is it right here? Bag of vitamins, kids. Look at that. Which one is this one? I don't even know what the hell this one is. Sunflower, lecithin. Wait, what else do I got here? Look at that. Oh, collagen. That one's a good one, right? Yeah. But you do you. You do you. Do whatever it takes to make you happy, to keep you going, even if you got addictions or vices or just bad habits. Have a good time. But I want to expose the positive, not expose, share the good things of you or somebody you may know, their story on here. With the other one, I want to help your business, small mom and pop shop that's been around, maybe a little, may need a little help, or maybe it's doing extremely well and it's a franchise. We want to, we just want to be part of that. We want to be part of it. That's what the song I wrote it in Nashville. I just recorded it today. I'm going to add more instruments. I'm going to change a couple things. It's called I Just Want to Be Part of It. It's a long title. I just want to be part of it. And that's what this is about. It's easier. Let me help you about me and whatever I've done that made me less popular on social media. And I wasn't trying to be popular. I got popular being a dancer, and I didn't call people. We didn't social media. Hey, ladies, I'm going to be dancing with my guys at this club. I was like, I just showed up. And I was like, oh, dear God. I can't wait for it to end. And I just got there, and here he is. Oh my God. The fun I had, like when I DJ'd, people go, oh my God, I couldn't get a date in high school. Karen, Shepler, Karen McAllister, I worked with her and I went to school with her. They were teasing me because her friend, Shauna, I used to have she was my first crush in middle school. And I just remember I was so scared of girls back then. I liked them. I was just terrified. I don't know. I didn't date till I was like near like the end of my high school. Didn't even go to a prom. But all that attention I got from being a DJ, I didn't go there for that. I didn't go there for the drinks, the drugs, the girls. I just loved playing the music. I loved it. It was so exciting. I always wanted to add a new kind of mix, a couple new songs every single time, even if it cost me extra money. I didn't care. I always wanted to be the guy that brought new stuff. Like, oh my God, what was that song? It's not even on the radio yet. What is it? That was such a high to me every single time I did it. And I love bringing the excitement. Like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Super Club, or hey, welcome to Friday night. Blah 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 blah. I had a little growl to my voice or whatever. I didn't even know. I just did it, and I would be nervous sometimes. I don't get nervous at all now. But I remember when I first started, I would be holding my foot, and somebody used to see me do it. Like I'd hold it up, like I'd raise my knee behind me, and I'd be holding my ankle, like I was so nervous. But they didn't see that part, or they didn't hear it at least. And, but every time the nights got better and I got better at it and the clubs got packed. I liked being popular about that. I like being popular, not because of my ego. I liked it because of my ability. Does that make sense? And that's what I want to do now. Most of my goals and dreams are never going to happen. I'm never going to be a superstar. I'm never going to be a famous actor. I'm never going to be, any of those things. But at least I get to have fun with this. And if I got to get, a job as a street sweeper, work a Zamboni, and then I'll do it. And, just keep to myself, just grow old and have my own little life. But in the meantime, I'm having a little bit of fun trying to make some of this stuff happen. And thank God for this technology. Thank God for computers and streaming and internet and AI and whatever else I can use, because I hope I can entertain some of the people out there. I know 90% of the people in my life, especially back in Michigan, don't understand all the things I've done. It was weird. I didn't have any friends or popular. I mean, I had friends in high school. Don't get me wrong. I did. I had a lot of friends actually, especially went to a teen club. But inside my own high school, my senior year, my class, or whatever you want to call it, I hardly had any friends. I hardly any. In fact, anybody, as soon as I graduated, I never saw any of those people again. I never hung out with any of them. Nobody, not one person. Isn't that crazy? And I made a lot of money. I had jobs everywhere. I was DJing secretly all over cool clubs. I was getting hit on by 25-year-old women on average, and I was only like 18. And I didn't even date them. I was terrified of them. And it wasn't until like I was about, 19. I had a girlfriend, Maureen. She's on here. She's always posting. She's been married a few times. And then it just kind of went from there. And I still sucked at relationships. Did I treat them good? Yeah. But they always end up with this normal guy, this ordinary normal guy. Hey, let's go to wherever. Maybe because I don't play cards. Maybe because I don't. I can't sit around and just do nothing. But that's okay. I don't mind being a misfit. I don't mind being an outcast. I don't mind, because I found out that I still have a lot of great people out there everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. And nothing makes up for me losing my son, because he was my best friend. I even told that to Sabrina. I love you, Sabrina, but you know what? Dante talked to me about everything. You don't talk. You're like your mom. And it wasn't an insult. And I said that to her. I'm not trying to hurt you. I go, you're just really quiet. And I used to think your mom was just, when she was quiet, she'd be like, oh, I'm thinking about roses or the flowers or the music. No, there was more going on in there. But my Sabrina is just amazing. She's just very thoughtful. She's very productive. She's asking me, do you need money? Do you need this? Do you need this? Like even last night, she wanted to pick up the bill. I said, hell no. What are you talking about? I'm your dad. You never asked me for anything. So I'm lucky. And she is beautiful. She's naturally beautiful. She doesn't wear the big makeup. She doesn't have any fillers or she doesn't Photoshop herself. She's a vegetarian. She's just, you can't corrupt her. She's uncorruptible. And I'm just blown away by that, because I've been around the most corrupt people and environments in the world. I have. I can't even tell you. So anyway, I'm going to get off in a second. Oh yeah, it's 10:59 here in Detroit. And, I'm only going to probably, not by choice, but because of whoever, bring up, a small percentage. I'm going to try not to post my private, when I do my shows from now on, the other ones, I'm going to try to do those without coming on here. So if you want to come on or whatever, if you know people who want to tell a great story, you want somebody to promote your business, music, anything, and hopefully I get people that are very talented. Right now, my talent scale is about 1 on the scale of 10. But I'm going to find people that are real creative, productive, connected, resourceful, whatever, and make stuff happen. And maybe I'll call myself Mr. Positive of internet radio. In the meantime, if I never said happy birthday or I skipped a birthday, happy birthday. If you're celebrating something with your kid or grandkid or cousin or whoever out there, same thing to them. I wish nothing but positive and love to anybody out there. It's not because I have to agree with everything you or they think or like or anything, but I know that your life hasn't affected mine. Anything you say or do has not impacted me. What, did you set my house on fire? Did you steal my car? Did you melt my... No. And that's pretty much the truth in anything. So I don't let things bother me. My dad usually comes up with some pretty good stuff, but he told me a long time ago, Chris, and he didn't make this up, but he said it to me, meaning the phrase, And you've probably heard this before, but he said, don't sweat the small stuff. And as simple as that sounds, it was really complex to me. It was like algebra to me, like calculus or something. Something, I suck at upper math like that. I'm good with arithmetic and things like that, but I'm not good with, like what was that, hidden figures, where they're putting all the, NASA charts up there. I that's not me. But don't sweat the small stuff. And I did sweat the small stuff. And I think most people love to sweat the small. I think people get addicted to sweating the small stuff, especially on here. This has become a loaded gun, this social media thing. And maybe that's why, I don't relate to a lot of people out there, because they love that kind of friction. But I'm the guy that people would love to have when something bad happens, because, I think on my feet. I'm still I can still run upstairs like I did 20 years ago. I'm not that small. I train every day almost. I skipped yesterday. I shouldn't lie. But I try to do the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. And I've not always been good with the mental, because pain is a bitch. Grief is a bitch. It's hard. It follows you. It follows you. That's why I don't like going to funerals. I apologize if I don't go to funerals. My cousin, Cindy Cabrera, she spelled it Cyndi and then Cabrera. I didn't even know she was my cousin for years. Her mom was one of my favorite aunts, my dad's sister, America. That was her name, America, just like it sounds. And she died about a year before my son died. And she was very outspoken, very loved, very popular with all the cousins and all that. And very strong woman. And her husband never got over it, Junior. That's his name. And that's what we call him anyway. And, but Cindy found me on here. And she loved when I sang. When everybody would click off, I go, oh my God, he's going to sing. And she would send me messages. In fact, she sent me a candle. And it was really cool. It lit up and everything, like an LED with a flame. You light it, but then the LED light would go on, and underneath it was really cool. And she sent all this stuff to me. I didn't even know who she was. And then she started telling me. And then she said, yeah, she was really depressed. And I don't know if this contributed it, but I know that she was secretly drinking. She would drive in her car and drink and all that. And I would always, I go, hey, I got you. I love you. Because I was talking to hundreds of people off the ledge for a long time while I was going through my own crap, right? And I know this turned a lot of normal people off. When your life is great, you don't want to hear nothing. I get it. Hey, let's go to the club, or the golf course or wherever. But there was a lot of people that were in pain, somehow made a connection with me, and she was one of them. Well, she died of pancreatic cancer a couple of weeks ago, right before I went to Nashville. I didn't go to her funeral because I was gone, and it was like while I was in Nashville. But I want to dedicate it to her. This candle isn't the candle she gave me, but I lit it for her tonight. And, because for all the people that abandoned me, discarded me, let me go, I'm okay with it. I am. I really am. And to the people that came into my life after, here in Michigan, around the world, Australia, Europe, all over, Tennessee, I've got more friends than I can count. And it isn't because I'm young. It isn't because I'm popular. It isn't because I have money or success. They know my faults. They know my flaws. They see them. They hear them, like now. And that's pretty cool. My ex-wife didn't like me for that. She liked the fact I was a well-known dancer. I was in shape. I had money, at least for a while, but it was never good enough. After a while, and I that's why I never wanted to be married. I understand it. It's the way our culture in this country is. We have to be a take and take. We have to take care of somebody. We have to provide them with happiness. Their friends or family have to approve of us. And guys can be weird in their own way too. You got to stop that, man. You got to find the insides. I'm learning to learn that about myself more and more and more. I used to be superficial. If a girl had a pimple on her nose, I don't care if she was a 10. I'd like, if she had a lisp, anything. I'm like, and here I couldn't even date in high school. I was afraid of girls in grade school. And all of a sudden I become this prima donna. I ain't lying. I was like, ugh. Then I had to look in the mirror one day. I go, God, Chris, you ain't all that. You ain't all that, you know. And now it's like you wouldn't trust me when I tell you. Be glad you don't have my life. But there's people worse off than me too, and they once had a great life. So on that note, I'm gonna let you go. But let's make the most of it. You know, when you make that resolution, let's make the most of 2025 or 2026. Make the most of right now. If I'm dead in 6 days or 6 months or 6 years, I can look back and go, man, every day until that moment that my heart stopped, I was trying to do the best I can. It's like even when I put this computer together, I called a guy that I lived with for 6 months right before I came here 2 months ago. And he's advertising, hey, I can fix your computer and this and that. And I'm the smartest guy in the world. My brother's even promoting him. And I called him up. I said, well, I'll call him up, and I'll pay him, whatever. And I said, I got a little water on there. Oh, it's fried. I'm like, what? I go, I just got a little, can you fix it? Oh, I go, imagine if I was just somebody out the street, right? So, what they did? And this is where, I just went on AI. And then another buddy of mine called me and says, why don't you go on eBay or, hey, go to da, da, da. And I went on AI. It was telling me how to do it in 2 seconds. And you know what? That's a little warning out there. You may love or hate AI. I love AI. I love AI. I do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm on that side. I don't care what happens because, AI is going to replace a lot of people with a lot of experience that made a lot of money. And you know what? The only thing that's going to save you out there, don't do what that guy did. His ego, his attitude, his bad ethics. It cost him. I would have paid him a couple $100. Instead, for $60, I bought a nice computer on eBay. They sent it 2 days later. I took a couple screws. Took me about 15 minutes. I flipped it over. I took out the battery, put the hard drive in, put this in. I'm back in action. That's why I came on tonight to see if this thing would test through the night. See what I'm saying? I'm going, oh, but I'm old. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and he told me it's ruined because he's an expert. Don't listen to people. Don't listen to people. Go to smarter sources. Don't let life defeat you. Don't take the first diagnosis. Fix it. Try hard. Put it in here, your belief system. Put it in your heart, your belief system. Do it to the best of your ability. Always have good intention. Don't gang up on people. Don't bully people. I know it's part of our nature. We love to do that. Just like when I bullied that kid. I didn't even do anything. I was just sitting there laughing. They're hitting them. Ha, ha, ha. Like, boy, it's kind of cool watching somebody else get hit, instead of me. That was in my head. Like, everyone's always fucking with me all the time as a kid. I didn't swear back then either. I shouldn't swear now. In fact, I should give it up. I really should give it up. In fact, I had a friend of mine, Joey Zago. I can say his name. He's a very successful guy. I talked to him 2 weeks ago, and we always want to get together. We get along great. And he's very outgoing. And he goes, and I was swearing. He goes, I don't swear anymore. And I'm like, I didn't even question why. I didn't question. I said, you know what? Good for you. Good for you. So, you can never improve your life enough, no matter how perfect you think you are. Seriously, you can't. And the minute you stop trying, then you become complacent. And that's okay. But then there's that mediocrity to your life. And I think, and if you're content with that, you're complacent, good. That's a good place to be. That's a lot of people. But if you're not, and you have boredom, if you have boredom, that means you're not doing enough with your abilities in here or here, right here. Do them. Seriously. I'm a living proof. I should just give up, quit, stop, collect my Social Security and be done. Find some rich women and hang out with them. That's what everyone keeps telling me. I know it's probably pissing some people off right now. But that's the truth, right? And that's not me. I could be that guy. I could be materialistic, superficial. I could be a conniver. I could just scam people. I'm that smart. My son would kill me. But that's not my design. It's just not my design. Sorry, man. Sorry, guys. I can't do it. And the bank is closed. Don't ask me for money. Please don't ask me for money. Don't ask me for a loan. Don't ask me to borrow my car. Please don't ask me for anything. And if something good happens, lose my number. I don't care how long we've known each other, but I'm your cousin. No, please. And I promise you, no matter how bad my life gets, I will never ask you for anything ever, 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 ever. And to the people that did help me out, including my cousin Eric and, my mom and dad, who, they let me stay here, the people in Tennessee, whatever, I'm always going to take care of you the best I can, no matter what I do. And that's your job too. Always pay back to somebody. And if you can't pay them back, pay it forward. Even if it's a couple dollars or a couple favors or a meal in a styrofoam container. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And if you don't have that in your heart, you don't even have to be empathetic or an empath, okay? Look that word up if you don't know what that means. And, even if you're a total asshole, but you get away with pretending to be nice. I know people like that. Oh, they're so good. They're so cool. No, they're an asshole. Like, I'm related to some. Trust me when I tell you. And the same thing with me. If you don't like something about me, tell me. Yeah, Chris, I don't like you. I think you're this. I think you're that. I go, yeah, I get it. But try to find the good parts in them, me, you, and make them better. I'm going to make that promise to you, to the world, to my son and my 2 daughters, one I don't see and one I'm not going to see for a long time. That's what I want. And that's my message. I've been on for an hour and 11 minutes. So have a great night. And if you don't like me anymore, go with God. I mean it. Have peace, whatever you believe in. And for the people in my past, like Marcus, that was a great, just that. When people pop in my life from my past like that, that's gold to me. That's gold. I will never forget, as long as my brain works and my soul happens. I will never forget the people in my life for 5 minutes, 5 years, 50. I don't care. I love great people. Not perfect. Just, with great intention. And it's not hard to be that way ever, ever. So go have a great day, great week, great year, and we'll see you soon. Misfits for everybody. Detroit Dash Talk. That's a copy of Nash Talk, but about Detroit. Nash Talk about the music scene. Dance Party about the clubs, the DJs, and all that around the world, because that's a whole different thing. And then we're going to do another one called At Your Service, helping businesses, small to big, in the Detroit area and beyond. The audience is going to be vast, questions and answers. And we're just going to keep adding in more things as technology allows, AIs improve, our money expands, whatever that happens. And if we fail at it, it'll become a hobby. But I don't think we will. I've never failed, I guess. But, well, I shouldn't say that. But, I've had good runs. I have had great runs, actually. I haven't had dull runs. I've had just really, really good times with success. And when I got those levels, I met great people. And a lot of that money, besides having my family, my ex-wife, was to helping other people, friends that were down and out, and strangers that didn't have anything. I have no regrets about any of that. And hopefully somebody says, you know what, whatever. But I think that's why people open their doors to me. The people that I stayed with again a year later, and they took me in. We went out to dinner. I was going to take them out to dinner. They picked up the tab. I'm like, son of a bitch, So then I tried to pitch in and help. I was helping around and stuff like that. Took care of the dogs, which I would have done anyway because I loved them. But and I left a little bit of money. And then the next day, by the coffee pot, the next day he calls me and he says, and he's, he has a Texas accent, but I can hear him even when he texts me, he goes, next time you leave money, you're not coming back over. I started laughing. I mean, who says that, right? So, and they didn't know me from Adam. So maybe all the things I did for people in the past may not been rewarded in some way or shape or form from them. But fast forward years later, I got these beautiful strangers that out of their own kindness allowed me to sustain being down there. And I was, struggling with money down there the whole time, but they took care of me and I had a great time. And I went back. I didn't want to leave. I really didn't want to leave. I can't tell you how bad I want to go back there and live there for the rest of my life, but I got things I got to do here too. So that's the beautiful thing about this. that's it. I'm been rambling. Got to go. And have a great night. And if you see this, do the best thing you can. All right. And going back to my old thing with my son, times 10. But you know what? If you want to be part of something, make sure it's something good. I'm going to play my song out right now real quick. And then, where's it at?
The meaning of life is more than just a mantra. It'll haunt you until the end of time. It'll blow your mind. You can scour every search engine while revving up your engine, looking for that quick fix like a love life, a get rich quick scheme to find your dream.